Congratulations. It has been brought to my attention that you have finally finished the first chapter of your life and are moving on to bigger and better things. And that, my friend, deserves a congratulations. You did it. Now, hopefully you don't have the adulthood experience that I had because I was far too young to be thrown into the adult world. You guys are older and more mature, and thus I have more faith in you. However, if, like me, you grew up in a school that read you, oh, the places you will go numerous times in your life, you might go into adulthood a little bit naive and get knocked down to real life like I did. I obviously care about you very much, and I don't want that to happen to you. So, you're going to bear with me for the next 3 minutes of your adult life and deal with this story, and you're going to remember it, and you're going to make great things of your life. So, here goes. This is called I Had Trouble in Getting to Salisalu. And it goes like this. I was real happy and carefree and young, and I lived in a place called the Valley of Vung, and nothing, not anything, ever went wrong. Until, well, one day I was walking along, and I guess I got careless. I guess I got gawking at daisies and not looking where I was walking. Which, if we all know Jenny, she does that shit, yeah. And that's how it started. Sock, what a shock. I stubbed my big toe on a very hard rock, and I flew through the air, and I went for a sail, and I sprained the main bone in the tip of my tail. Yeah, I'm pissed, yeah, believe me. That was me, yeah, 15. Now, I never had ever had troubles before, so I said to myself, I don't want any more. If I watch out for rocks with my eyes straight ahead, I'll keep out of trouble forever, I said. That's what I told to myself, you guys, I did. But watching ahead, well, it just didn't work. I was watching those rocks when I felt a hard jerk. A very fresh green-headed Quilligan quail sneaked up and back and went after my tail. And I learned that there are troubles of more than one kind. Some come from ahead, and some come from behind. Boy, I learned it hard, too. So I said to myself, now I'll just have to start to be twice as careful and be twice as smart. I'll watch out for trouble in front and back sections by aiming my eyeballs in different directions. I found this to be quite a difficult stunt, but now I was safe, both in back and in front. The new troubles came from above and below, a scrizz at my neck and a skrink at my toe, and now I was really in trouble, you know. The rocks and the quail and the scrizz and the skrink, I had so many troubles, I just couldn't think, which we all know Jenny can't never think. There I was, all completely surrounded by trouble, when a chap rolled up in a one-wheeler wobble. Young fellow, he said, what has happened to you has happened to me and other folks too. So I'll tell you what I have decided to do. I'm off to the city of Salisalu on the beautiful banks of the river Wahoo, where they never have troubles, at least very few. It's not very far, and my camel is strong. He'll get us there fast, so hop on, come along. I jumped in behind him, then all through the day, the wobble wubbed on in a wobblesome way. The road got more bumpy, more rocky, more tricky. By midnight, I tell you, my stomach was icky. And I said, Mister, please, when do we get to that wonderful town? Aren't we almost there yet? Young fellow, he told me, don't start into stew. At sunrise, we'll drive into Salisalu, and you'll have no more troubles, I promise. I do. But when dawn finally came and the darkness got light, that wonderful city was nowhere in sight. Instead of the city, we ran into trouble. Our camel got sick and he started to bubble. We had to pull him in the one-wheeler wobble. So there we were in a dreadful position. Our camel sure needed a camel physician. Now doctors for camels are not often seen, especially on mountains. They're far, far between. But we pulled that old wobble and set out to find some doctor while dragging our camel behind. I pulled and pulled and pulled, and the next thing I knew, I was pulling the camel and the wobble chap too. Now really, I thought, this is rather unfair. I said, don't you stew, I'm doing my share. This is called teamwork. I furnish the brains, you furnish the muscles, the aches and the pains. I'll pick the best roads, tell you where to go, and we'll get there to a good doctor much more quickly, you know. Then he sat and he worked with his brain and his tongue, and he bossed me around just because I was young. He told me go left, he told me go right, and that's what he told me all day and all night. That's how work goes for real. I hated it. Next morning, we located Dr. Sam Snow who knew all about tonsils and camels as well. Our camel, he said, had a bad case of gleeks and should lie in bed for at least 20 weeks. I was tired. How I wanted to crawl in that bed, but the wobble chap sent me away and he said, your troubles are practically all at an end. Just down the road, the hill, around the next bend, you'll come to a Happy Way bus route, my friend. The Happy Way bus route leaves at 4:42 and will take you directly to Salisaloo on the beautiful banks of the River Wahoo, where they never have troubles, at least very few. Well, the bus stop was there, and that part was just fine. But tacked on a stick was a very small sign saying, notice to passengers using our line. We are sorry to say that our driver, Birch Myers, ran over 4 nails and has punctured all tires, so until further notice, the 442 cannot possibly take you to Salisaloo. But I wish you the most pleasant journey by feet, signed Bus Line President Horace P. Sweet. So I went on by feet, thanks to Horace P. Sweet. And that Horace P. Sweet, he almost ruined my feet. And 100 miles later, my feet were so sore, then wouldn't you know it, it started to pour. I was drenched to the skin when a chap in a slicker splashed up and yelled, it's the midwinter jicker! It's the midwinter jicker! It came early this year, and it's not going to be very comfy around here. Any fool would get out, so I've packed up my things, and I'm off to my granddaddy's out in Palm Springs. Take cover, he yelled. Use my house if you wish. Then the chap in the slicker splashed off like a fish. I ran in the house and I fell in a heap. I needed my rest, but I just couldn't sleep. Did you ever sleep and your feet were like ice with a family of owls and a family of mice? I listened all night to the growls and the yells of the chattering teeth of those mice and those owls, while the midwinter jicker held horrible howls. I tossed and I flipped and I flopped and I flipped. It was 5:15 when I finally slept. Then I dreamed I was sleeping on billowy billows of soft silk and satin marshmallow stuffed pillows. I dreamed I was sleeping on Salisaloo on the banks of the beautiful River Wahoo, where they never have troubles, at least very few. But then I woke up, and it just wasn't true. I was crashing down in a flubberless flood with suds in my eyes and my mouth full of mud and my nose full of water and my ears full of shrieks of the owls on the flags of the mud and the beaks. And I said to myself, I really don't see why troubles like this have to happen to me. I floated 12 days without toothpaste or soap. I practically had given up all of hope. When someone shouted, here, catch the rope, then I knew that my troubles had come to an end, and I climbed up the rope, calling, thank you, my friend. I got to the top of the rope, but it wasn't a friend, and I saw that my troubles, they were not at an end. A big man on a horse scared me out of my wits. He bellowed, I'm General Genghis Khan Schmitz. There's a war that's going on, and it's time that you knew every lad in this land has his duty to do. We're marching to battle. We need you, my boy. We're about to attack. We're about to destroy the perilous Poozer Pummel Pass. So get in line, private first class. He gave me 1 shooter and 1 little bean, which was not very much, if you see what I mean. Then he yelled, get the Poozer, attack without fear, the glorious moment of victory's near. And the glorious general led the advance with the glorious swish of the sword at his lance and the glorious clank of his tin-plated pants. Then we went around the corner and we found that, alas, there was more than 1 Poozer in Pummel Pass, and General Genghis Khan Schmitz shouted out to his men, this happens in war every now and again. Sometimes you're winners and sometimes you're losers. We'll never win against so many Poozers. So I suggest that it's time to retreat. And the army raced off on its tin-plated feet. There I was with the Poozers that I'd never seen. There I was with my shooter and only 1 bean. There I was, and I thought, will I ever get through to the wonderful city of Salisaloo on the banks of the beautiful River Wahoo, where they never have troubles, at least very few? I doubt it. If you're anything like Jenny, you ain't getting it, right? I had trouble, terrible trouble in staying alive. Then I saw an old pipe that said vent number 5. I didn't have time to find out what that meant, but the vent had a hole, and the hole is where I went. And boy, was I in that hole. Well, that vent where I went was sort of a funnel that led me down into a frightful black tunnel. The traffic down there was a mess, I must say, with billions of birds going all the wrong way. They bumped me with bikes, they banged me with dishes, and it ran into ladders, beds, bottles, and fishes. I skidded on garbage. I fell in a horn. Troubles. I wish I'd never been born. I was down there 3 days in that bird-filled-up place. At least 8,000 times I fell smack on my face. I injured 3 fingers, both thumbs, and both lips, my shin bone, my backbone, my wishbone, my hips. What's more, I was starved. I had nothing to eat, and damp. Was it damp? I grew moss on my feet. And we all know how I feel about water, right? I don't like that shit. Then, just when I thought I could stand it no more, by chance I discovered a tiny trapdoor. I popped my head out. The great sky was sky blue, and I knew from the flowers I'd finally come through to the beautiful banks of the river Wahoo. I shouldn't be far now from Flawless Slough. There it was, with its glittering towers in the air. I had made it. I had done it. At last I was there, and I knew that I'd left all my troubles behind when a chap at the doorway that shimmered and shined waved me a wave that was both friendly and kind. Welcome, he said, as he gave me his hand. Welcome, my son, to this beautiful land. Welcome to sweet sunny Flawless Slough, where we never have troubles, at least very few. As a matter of fact, we have just one. Imagine just one little trouble, my son, and this one little trouble well, as you now see, is the one trouble I have with the ski. There's only one door into Flawless Slough, and we have a key-slapping slipper, we do. The troublesome slipper moved into my door 2 weeks ago Tuesday at 3:45. Since then, I can't open this door anymore. And I can't kill the slippered. It's very bad luck to kill any slippered, and that's why we're stuck, and why no one gets in, and the town's gone to pot. It's a terrible state of affairs, is it not? And so, said the doorman of Flawless Slough, my job at the door here is finished. I'm through, and I'll tell you what I have decided to do. I'm leaving, he said, leaving Flawless Slough on the banks of the beautiful river Wahoo, where they never have troubles, at least very few, and I'm off to the city of Boo on the banks of the river Woohall, where they never have troubles, no troubles at all. Come on along with me, he said as he ran. You'll never have any more troubles, young man. I'd have no more troubles. That's what the man said. So I started to go. But I didn't. Instead, I did some quick thinking inside of my now graduated head. Then I started back home to the Valley of Ung. I know I'll have troubles. I'll maybe get stung. I'll always have troubles. I'll maybe get bit by that green-headed quail on the place that I sit. But I bought a big bat, and I'm ready, you see. Now my troubles are going to have troubles with me. You are smart. You're so smart. You're talented. You are so talented. You are loved. You will go far. Do not get caught up in this panic of the world. Be calm. Be reserved. Think it through. And you always have a home. I love you. Congratulations.